So this video is probably not going to get me many friends from the Hiwa Matanabaru translation group or Cool 0210, but I feel that this is important. And I was originally going to have this be part of another video, but I feel it'd be better to have it as its own separate video, and I can have this information not buried under other information in another video which is only slightly related to this specific topic. And that information being Kato Higashikata's name being mistranslated in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 8, Jojolion. So before we get started, I want to say, I know, scanlations are never going to be perfect, but I'd love it if Cool and Hiwa Matanabaru understand where I'm coming from with this video. I only wish for the scanlations of Jojolion to be as accurate as possible to what the original creator wanted to express with his characters, and I feel that Kato's name being mistranslated like this is a big issue right now for the translation, because we lose all meaning behind her name with it. Also, I had a lot of help on this video from Mr. Donut the Donut, someone who I consider a pretty good friend who has also worked on scanlation stuff before. So please consider that this isn't just a me thing. With Kato, her name is romanized to Kato with a K. But the issue here is it appears this is where the translators for Jojolion stop. Because you see, names in Japanese have both kanji spelling and katakana and hiragana spelling. These are how you either pronounce it or how it's written when romanized. And when you romanize a name, you should really only be doing it to understand how the name is pronounced and not how it's supposed to be spelled when written out in English. And it's very important, especially when you're translating from Japanese to English, because you see, there is no C in hiragana or katakana, since they both belong to an isochron language, which is a language where all syllables have equal value, or equal meaning. So, the ka and ka with a K and Ka with a C would be represented by the same character, since they have the same sound. Where there are languages like English that are both stress-timed languages and Romance languages, where these factors do not apply because we have the letter C and our sentence structure is very different. Now this kind of error, even though it's not technically an error because it's technically correct, is very common in scanlations. It's what leads to names like Jotaro being written like Jotaro, and yes, the OU is technically correct on the pronunciation of it, but it's supposed to be written differently, because Jotaro's name is a combination of Jo and Taro, which is the pronunciation of the tarot cards, given their overall importance to the part, and especially Jotaro and Dio, given that their stands are named after them. So where the Jotaro with the OU is technically a correct way to write the pronunciation of his name, it misses the point of his overall name, where the OU isn't necessary. Now for these points to matter for Kato's name to be spelt with a C, we need evidence from the author or some source material itself. So, in Manga Theory and Practices, Araki mentions that when he's naming characters, that he does a few specific things. One of them being that if Rohan had a brother, I might flip through a kanji dictionary to find related kanji. Maybe something that shares and he lists two kanji that I don't know how to pronounce, to signal that the two are brothers. This is Araki focusing on the name itself and how it's supposed to be pronounced or how it's supposed to be written. And this is only one of the few examples that Araki has. He values a lot about character names, as I mentioned with Jotaro and the Taro in his name. So before we can get into anything, we need to understand the foundation of her name. And so, we would have to start thinking of words that might sound like Kato. So with Kato's name being in reference to the pronunciation of the word card in Japanese, given that they are both pronounced similarly, this is because of the connection between her and her stand, or her important deck of cards, as these cards backing appear all over her clothing, even her swimsuit, and god damn, she has a good body. But to be fair, the symbols on these cards are that of the Higashikata family crest. But still, it maintains a card shape on every form of her. Also, the name plays into her gambling-esque nature, which I've picked up from some slight personality quirks, but that is more me projecting some ideas onto her and nothing that is concrete yet. But you know what is concrete? Direct visual evidence. Finally, the most important evidence is that we get to look at Kato's wedding band, and engraved on the wedding band is N2C, which only makes sense in the context of Norisuke to Kato. And this is even true in the original Japanese scans of Jojolion Chapter 55, it is always N2C. So, Araki is intending the name to be spelt with a Ka with a C and not a Ka with a K, and be in reference to Cardo. or Kato. So please, don't take this as any form of an attack against your group of translators or you as a person. I don't intend for this video to come off like that. I stated before, my only wish is that the Jajolian scans are as accurate as possible to what the creator is trying to express with his characters. Though, if I was gonna get personal about something that translations groups do, stop adding OUs to characters' names. It's completely unnecessary and only leaves people like me, people with dyslexia, having trouble with the name. They come off as way more confusing, and in the cases of Jotaro, you might miss what the intended idea is behind the name.
Don't let the globalists win!
So I hope this video was enjoyable. If you want to help support me making more videos just like it, then I have a Patreon at patreon.com/MeganTheBadGuy. And if you want something to take your mind off of things that was translated pretty well but still has no light novel translations, goddammit, go to Funimation.com/show/Shimonetta, boring world where the concept of jokes doesn't exist, and get your copy of Shimonetta. And then after that, have a lovely day.